Alrighty.
Cool.
So, so we're supposed to talk about the program evaluation,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Isn't that
Yeah, it just says identify and briefly describe the process of doing a program eval.
okay?
Um,
Mm.
I've got my book here. Um, and I guess you guys want me to kind of like read through defining what it is, and then we can go into like the basics of it.
Yeah, it sounds good. I
Okay.
don't have my book on me.
Yeah, I can never remember this, but this says there's three different definitions of a program evaluation related to education and healthcare policy research. One describes evaluation as the process of determining the merit, worth, and value of things. The second is defined program evaluation as the use of social research procedures to systematically investigate the effectiveness of social intervention programs. And third, program evaluation as the systematic process of collecting and analyzing information about the efficiency, effectiveness, and the impact of programs and services.
All right. Hmm. So basically, just evaluating how effective a service or a program is.
Yeah. Um, and I don't know where you guys work or anything, but I know at my job, it's a domestic violence agency, we hand out cards to our clients that are like, please leave feedback for whatever it is, but we're supposed to do it, I think, like every like once a year. And so we take the feedback into consideration of like what they what they don't like, how they feel about staff, and like how they feel about the services they are provided. Um, and recently my company just did like a whole upside down flip flop based on those responses.
Oh, wow. So they actually
Yeah,
took it under consideration.
yeah. I mean, I think for the better, but right now it's like chaos. But
Uh,
that's like a whole different discussion. um, but yeah, they got into the nitty gritty about like how our services were affecting them and like intervention, like social intervention, how it was affecting them and how effective it was. So
wow.
yeah.
But you don't think it was like the best move?
No, I think it's good to get feedback from the clients for sure. Um, but then everything just like totally changed and it's like a big communication issue internally. Like it's not so
Oh,
hard.
gotcha.
It's not so hard with, I've never found it difficult working with clients. I've always found it difficult like navigating the internal communication structure of our company. And now it's just got even more confusing. So I'm just like, ah. Um, but yeah, there's a lot more training going on in specific areas that the clients said we want more information or more structure with these types of problems.
Hmm, cool. So you're
Mhm.
like listening to what the clients want.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully, most programs are doing that, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of like along the lines of what you're saying. I found once like a program or a company gets to be too big, it's like the communication is all out of whack and it's hard to like know who to report to or what's going on. It's like it's chaos. Like
Hmm.
that's what happened at my job before I quit. We were it's like cute little like mental health organization and then they got bought out and it just like went down the toilet after that.
Oh, wow, that's a bummer.
And ultimately the clients suffer.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's like this is the second agent. Well, I mean, I worked for a wilderness therapy, the one that I did my program eval on actually for this class, and then the domestic violence agency I work for now, both of them I think struggle from the problem of like growing way too fast because of the
Mm-hmm.
need. And then just like, you know,
Crumbling.
it just like, yeah, it just affects the clients and like training isn't as good. It's just like limited resources. Like there just aren't as many um like fast track solutions for growing that big that fast.
Yeah. And then what I found, like what happened at my job, is a lot of the therapists were getting really burnt out because they were getting overwhelmed with too many clients. And then they start quitting. Then you
Yeah.
lose the good therapist.
Yeah. And they go somewhere that they feel valued and they're not going to be like a good work-life balance for sure.
Exactly. Not treated like a robot.
Yeah. Where you're just like in, like, just rotate them in.
Exactly. Just like churning out session after session.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sidetracked.
Um, yeah. But that's the definition. Um, I think it would be kind of interesting if we like went through the steps. I could just name them and then we can talk about our own program evals that we turned in for this class. Did you guys turn yours in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that
I
would be
was
fun.
late, but I turned it in.
Whatever. Um, okay. So the first step in the program evaluation is identifying and involving the stakeholders. The second is defining the program. So, like, what is the program supposed to do? The third is focusing on the design of the evaluation, kind of like what questions need to be answered. Step 4 is gathering evidence. Step 5 is analyzing the data and drawing conclusions. And step 6 is presenting your findings to use them.
So step one was identifying the stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
So we just talk about our own program evaluations.
Yeah, we can do that. I feel like that'll be a good use of our time.
Yeah. All right, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. The program that I did an eval on was Blue Fire Wilderness Therapy. It's located in Idaho. And the stakeholders that are involved all the way from like the bottom level up are the clients, like the kids that go, and then their parents. And then internally, I guess like internally working, there's the staff. So there's the therapist, there's the administration, there's the logistics crew, there's the instructors that live with them 24/7. And then above that, and then there's an adventure team that also has a stake in it. And then above that is they use like accreditation from the state so they can receive credits for missing school. So they work with people on that. And that's really a really important stakeholder because they want to be able to transfer credits over to these kids that miss school even before they come to the program. And then at the very top level, the state of Idaho does audits, I think at least once a year, from what I remember, of how the program is running and like if there's any like major red flags of how it's running. And I think that's a really, really big stakeholder at this company because there's been a lot of stuff in the news recently about like residential and wilderness programs and mistreatment of clients. And so I think that's a really big one because the people need to be like properly trained in like wilderness first aid and generally like de-escalating clients and not using force with them. And so the state of Idaho regulates, I think they like look over all the training materials to make sure that nothing crazy is happening so the clients aren't mistreated.
Wow, that
Mhm.
sounds really important.
Yeah, I think so. Or else it would just be like a dumpster fire, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a little bit of history. Wilderness therapy started out through NOLS. Do you guys know NOLS? It's the
Mm,
National Outdoor Leadership School, and it started in like the 70s. And they would take like at-risk youth and they would take them out into the forest and out into the wilderness for like a month or two, and they would give them a flask, cigarettes, and a knife. And like that was it, and like a tarp. And so it's really come a long way since then. Yeah.
Wow, cigarettes are integral to survival.
Well, I think it was probably the people taking them too. But yeah,
Oh my God.
but those are just the things that they like allowed to take, and like everybody got their own knife. And nowadays it's like, no, the kids don't get to carry their own knives.
Yeah, if they're at risk youth and
Yeah.
your problems with
Yep.
knives and cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like
So it's
a
come a long
dumpster
way.
fire.
Mhm.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that something you want to do as wilderness therapy?
I don't know. I've already done it at an instructor level, and it's like an hour and a half from my house. So if I were to go into it, I have to be away for a few nights. And I've kind of done like the moving away for a few weeks at a time, coming back, because those were the schedules. So I don't know. I'm really comfortable with everybody that works there. And I really like the co-founder and the primary therapist. He's a badass. Like he's so good at his job, and he has one of the hardest groups to work with. And so I have mad respect for everybody that works there. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm kind of just taking it as it is. It's definitely an option, but I don't know.
Cool. Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Right on. So, all right, well, what's next?
Does anybody else have any stakeholders that they want to talk about in their program eval?
Let's see, you had a lot. I just did complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So I did the foundation for it, which I didn't get an interview or any up close and personal interaction. I just went off the website. So I mean, it was just basically those who use it and the people that work there. So yeah, yours had a lot of interesting
Wait, so
history.
what's the program specifically?
It's the complex PTSD foundation.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Like, any people in particular that they target, or just anyone with PTSD? Like any age
Um,
groups?
yeah, and it's not PTSD, but it's hard because the complex PTSD, so it's not in the DSM yet, but it is in the International Classification of Diseases. So it just came out in 2018. So it's kind of limited in America because we don't acknowledge it as a diagnosis. So it's like a worldwide thing, but it is harder in America to work with it. So this is like the biggest, I don't know, organization that helps people with it. And of course, it's not clinical; it's just like support because they can't do anything.
Interesting.
So if it's a foundation, they must rely on, I mean, I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know if this is wrong, but do they get funds in and then hopefully send funds out or?
Yeah, they work, so they go a lot with donations, and then they do charge. Unfortunately, they do charge for their services. It's kind of minimal fee, but I mean it's a fee. So, um, and you can choose what level of support you want. So you can do like a daily Zoom group support, and that's like basically the highest level, or you can get like encouraging text messages every day, or they have different support things. So you kind of choose. They have some free stuff. But yeah.
And is it national or is it just based in one area?
Yeah, it's national. It's based in Hawaii, but
Oh,
it's international. But yeah.
oh,
But
cool.
mostly because of the Zoom and the time zones, it's sort of tailored for America. But there is like a British component, a UK, um, that goes on that time zone. So
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Cool. Well, I did mine on ADHD Child and Family Services, which is just a little clinic or organization here in Oregon. So I think the only stakeholders with that would be the children, the parents, the therapists. Yeah, I think that's it. The interns.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Important stakeholders though.
Yeah, it's not like a government funded thing. So, yeah,
And it's a specific clinic just for children with ADHD.
and their families.
Oh,
It's actually really interesting. Like the woman who founded it, she noticed like a need in the community that like ADHD was kind of being treated in the same way that PTSD was being treated. And she's like, this isn't really effective. Like kids with ADHD need to learn like tools and skills to function in life. But they're like an individual therapy, they're kind of just learning the skills and then they're going home and like that's it. So this clinic, they teach the parents the same skills so that the parents can work with the kids in the home. And it's been shown to be a lot more effective. And she was also like, typically the parents come in and they have ADHD too. So by helping the kids, you're helping the parents. So I thought it was really cool. It's a new approach to treating
yeah.
ADHD.
Well, the community is a stakeholder too, because
Mm.
if it's
That's
a huge need, yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah, and probably the schools, 'cause
Oh yeah, for sure.
kids with ADHD can be very disruptive.
Mhm. The program that I did my eval on also does like a family systems approach where they work with like basically the parents are getting therapy simultaneously as the kids are. And so it's I mean, because kids can come from homes and like the parents are the problems, not necessarily the kids, or the parents cause the problems. And so it's like I think it's really helpful because it's not just focusing on the kid and like trying to fix them. It's like repairing the relationship between the two and both parties learning tools on how to live successfully at home.
Yeah, family systems approach works great.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about the next step. I think that all kind of talked about this, but like defining the program, what the program is supposed to do.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think in general, I mean, mine is it effective in helping like kids stay at home and like live at home effectively while like going to school, not getting arrested, um, living substance free, um, decreasing their self-harm habits. I think overall just like providing therapy to help kids cope is mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say mine's pretty similar, just
Mm,
providing tools and techniques to help kids cope with their ADHD symptoms. Learn
mhm.
time management, organizational skills, mindfulness skills, learn patience. Yeah. And then the parents learn the techniques and help the kids stay on track too.
Mhm.
Yeah, for mine, it's like they have those daily or monthly support groups. They have like a creativity group, a meditation group, a yoga group. So those are some of the stuff they have. But then they also do education, which I think is important. Like since it's not in the DSM, they do a annual summit, I guess they call it. It's like a conference. They had like Bessel van der Kolk, well-known people in the field. Oh, they they try to have resources for people as far as like legal resources and counseling resources stuff. Yeah. So many things.
So your program, Angie, is like people trying to, I don't know, improve their quality of life with those symptoms,
Yes,
giving
it's
them
not
tools and resources and stuff.
right. Yeah,
awesome.
because it's not clinical and it's not crisis. You know, it says that on many times it's like a peer support
Mhm.
because they don't want to be liable, you know, for or out of their
Right.
scope. Yeah.
So they don't have like therapists or anything.
No, it is run, the people who run it and the founder and those are clinical people, but they can't provide clinical services. So, but, and they're all trauma informed, but at least like what they're doing is not, you know, just some random person. It's somebody with the education and the, hopefully the tools to know what would work.
Well, and hopefully if they're chatting with people and giving them resources, like hopefully they would give them resources to find trauma-informed clinicians, whatever state they're living in.
Yes. Yeah. They have a
Yeah.
list of resources for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Books and webinars and all kinds of things that, you know, to lead people to the down the right path, hopefully.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's cool. Sounds much needed.
Yeah.
Um, okay, do you want to move on to the next step?
Yeah.
Step 3 is focus the design of the evaluation. Do you want me to kind of read this? Because I don't really understand it.
Sure.
Or do you guys know what this means?
Are you gonna read it?
Sure. It just says, in this step, the counselor decides what kind of evaluation and what questions need to be answered. Does the program need calls for a formative process evaluation? In which ways the program is executed? Or does it need like a summative product or outcomes evaluation? It can be driven by an overarching question or goal of the program about. Oh, and it'll influence the counselor's choices in terms of what kind of data will be collected and how it will be analyzed.
You were like breaking up there. I don't know if it's like my
Sorry.
Wi-Fi or not. But I
No,
only
I had
like
trouble hearing you as well.
It says,
Maybe just because your head was turned.
oh, sorry.
Yeah. No,
It says that the counselor decides what kind of evaluation is needed. Does the program do the program needs call for a formative process evaluation? So someone can examine in which ways the program is executed, or does it call for a summative product or outcomes evaluation, where you examine the bottom line of whether the program is efficacious, if that's the word.
So basically trying to figure out what type of evaluation the program needs.
Yeah.
And the options were outcomes, bottom line. What was the other one?
Formative, so like in which ways in which the program is being executed. So like Angie described all of those different ways that their clients, the PTSD clients can get resources and stuff, and if they're getting those resources effectively, not necessarily if the resources are helping them.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I guess for my program, for my program evaluation, I focused on the formative, like how it's executed, not necessarily what the outcomes of the clients were, like whether wilderness is successful or not. I focused on like, these are all the things that are offered and they're reevaluated. I don't know how often. I didn't get that, but yeah.
Well, I guess for mine, I would say I did formative and outcomes. Because like I talked to her, the director, like how they do the therapy, but then I also asked her like, what are the results? Is this effective? So, I mean, I don't know if we have to just pick one, but I I would say that I probably did both, or those two.
For me, it was just the formative because you can't really measure. Well, you could, but there wasn't really anything to describe it. But they had made changes because some of their formatting and their time zones and stuff. I mean, it was just little kind of things. They had like things had been taking place over Facebook, and they moved them to like secure web Zoom type situations and things like that. But yeah.
True.
The next step is gather the evidence. So executing the plan for data collection, such as interviewing clients, collecting data, third parties, or using some other method. So I guess if you were doing a real program evaluation, like how would you, say you ran your own clinic or something, like how would you collect the data?
That's a good question.
And the next step is analyzing the data and drawing conclusions. And the last is presenting your findings and using them.
So like Susie, for yours, when they well at the place you're at now, it was like, was it open-ended questions where it's like, how can we change this program? Or was it like, this is working well, this is not working well, like a scale type of question?
Well, they did it a few different ways. So, I guess so what they did is a few months ago, or like the beginning of the summer, we asked, like we each reached out to like our clients that we were doing case management with, and we asked them if they wanted to participate in like a program evaluation, and they came in for like an hour on a Saturday. It was confidential, and they were offered like lunch and I think like $50 or something just to incentivize them to come in.
Yeah.
And then I don't know exactly, they didn't tell us what exactly was asked. But I'm assuming it was along the lines of like what isn't working, what are the case managers doing that aren't meeting your needs, what are they doing? So that was one way. It was like an in-person interview. And then that we also have papers that we asked them to just like circle yes or no. Like, did this help? Yes. Any other resources? Yes. Okay, list the other resources that you need. It's like stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Surveys.
Yeah. Surveys. And then we recently just got these little business cards from like the overarching Idaho Coalition for Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault, like these little cards where we have to give them to clients, and if they want to, they can participate in the survey, and they like scan a QR code, and I don't know what that looks like, but yeah.
Okay.
It seems like every company everywhere now has surveys.
Yeah.
Like things where you have to rate the service. It's like constant for like every single thing. To like rate the company and then the person, and it's kind of exhausting.
Well, even when you buy, like, say you're just buying a shirt from the company, not
Yes.
necessarily on Amazon, you get an email that's like, hey, rate our service. You talked to so-and-so. How did Ashley do?
I know. I get this all the time. I usually delete them.
Yeah, same.
It's like, who has time to fill out a survey for every single thing?
Well,
It's insane.
And then the issue is that the people, I mean, it's kind of like Yelp. The people that really are dissatisfied, like they'll go ahead and be like, never go to this restaurant ever again. But the people that are like pretty satisfied are like, yeah, I don't really, like, I paid for my food and it was awesome and I don't really care to leave a review.
Exactly. It's either it has to be like really, really good or really, really horrible, and then I'll post a review. If it's like, I'm not gonna waste my time.
Yeah. So it's hard to like draw conclusions when, I mean, I can only imagine the kids that are at Wilderness, like I can only imagine what they say in their surveys because they're probably like, I hated Susie, she was awful, blah 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 blah. I hate Wilderness, but like they probably learned something from it, but you'll never know because they were just so upset with the entire experience. Especially someone being forced into like a kid being forced into residential or something, like
Right.
automatically it's just very distasteful for them
Mhm.
because they're forced to go there. And so I feel like it's
Yeah.
hard to draw conclusions on that.
Yeah. An angry hormonal teenager. Yeah.
Having to do something they don't want to do.
Well,
Yeah.
and then it's gonna make it really hard to get like a fair like representation or understanding of like what actually needs to be changed. Like, how do you know if these people are being honest or coerced or angry? Like, you have no idea. And then, like you mentioned, you're missing a whole huge sample of the people who are just like moderately satisfied.
Yeah.
You either like really hate it or really love it. Nothing in between.
All the outliers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it hard.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting if you like Angie, that program that you did your program eval, like if they don't provide clinical services, like I wonder if those people are just like upset even
Yeah.
before because they were probably like, this is what I was expecting. I don't want
Sure.
resources, I want help.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Or this isn't the kind of help I needed or thought you would provide. Yeah.
Yeah, like they have to jump through more hoops.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's challenging
Mhm,
to really know if it's working or not.
mhm. What were some of the weaknesses that YouTube pointed out with your programs,
Weaknesses.
if you remember?
Well, one thing that the woman was telling me, I don't know if it's a weakness, but she said they don't have enough therapists, so they're like having to turn away clients because they just don't have enough therapists to meet the needs. And she said that was her biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Um, as far, I mean, I talked to her for like 15 minutes, so I don't know. I don't know enough about the program really to know about the weaknesses, honestly.
For me, I just cited the cost because that's prohibitive. I mean, I wish they didn't have to do that. I mean, again, the limited, and the limited scope that they have, and then the limited availability of, everything's on Eastern Standard Time, and you have to make that work with your schedule. It's only one day a week.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What about you, Susie?
Um, I think one of the weaknesses I wrote was the screening process for kids is definitely a big challenge at that company because sometimes they administer kids where their challenges or their needs are at a much higher level than someone going to Wilderness. Like for example, I was pretty upset one time when I worked there. I worked with like the younger boys group, and there was a boy that I think he was 12 or 13, but he had ASD, and he was like he was pretty far along the spectrum of like it was really hard to meet his needs like hygienically. And so part of me was like, why are his parents sending him to the middle of Idaho in winter? I understand that he's creating a lot of disturbance at home, but he needs like indoor treatment where he's not like the cold always really really got to him where it just totally shut him down, and he wet his pants a lot. And I was like, this isn't the right place for him, like I just felt so upset. And I really liked, I mean, he was such an adorable little kid, but like I just was like, if he had been screened better, like he could have gone to a place that really like actually could match his needs. um Yeah. And then there's some kids that come in where I'm like, you did what at home? Like 17-year-old boys. And I'm like, like, I don't know, like gang violence or something. I'm like, how, like, with this history of violence, like, why are you being let in here? Like, kids
Mm,
could be capable of anything. Um,
right. Not enough
yeah.
protection.
Yeah. So I think that type of screening is definitely a weakness. And then, I don't know, let me look actually. I had a few, but what did I put? Well, I called them challenges, not weaknesses.
Mhm.
Oh, and then I also put in terms of environmental concerns. Oh, like I said, with the kid, like the 12-year-old, like him being out in the cold and like being able to like, I mean, he was properly outfitted, but it was such a big challenge for him. And then just always making sure the kids are hydrated or warm or, um, I guess just like that's totally up to like staff training too. But I think it's such a big issue if you don't notice it. And kids also come in and
Yeah.
they're like, I don't know how to drink water, and you're like, what? It's like 100 degrees
What?
outside. Yeah. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Seems like a pretty big issue.
I know. It's just like, and then also just like it can be unpredictable out there.
Wow,
Another,
so really unsafe, like a threat to their physical safety.
yeah. Well, staff are definitely trained for physical safety, but like the kids can just exasperate it if they choose to because they want to leave. Um, yeah, just like
What about like a serious medical condition? Like, do they have resources set up for that, like medics on staff, or
yeah.
if
Well, they
someone?
take them. They have to go like pick them up, take them out of the location, and then go drive them to the nearest hospital, which is probably like an hour drive round trip, if not more.
Oh my God, what if a kid like trips on a rock and smashes their head? It's like
Yeah.
bleeding all over the
Yeah. I mean,
place.
there's also rattlesnakes out there. Like, that's a huge challenge. And I'm always like, if you get bit by a rattlesnake, like, well, we have in reaches and we have phones and stuff. So it's like, we got, I mean, like, instructors got briefed on, okay, if this type of injury happens, like, you're calling a life flight versus this type of injury, you're calling someone out to come pick up the kid to go to the hospital or something.
Okay, so they can call in like a helicopter,
Mhm.
something, fly the
Yeah.
kid out. Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah. And then fires happen in the summer. You have to like evacuate everybody. Um, I think there's
Yeah.
just like I think there's just a lot of risks being in the wilderness environment. So I think that's a big challenge.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns, things you can't control.
Mhm.
Scary.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I think I don't know. I think the program's like pretty effective despite all that stuff. I mean, like I would say like 95% of the time the kids are I mean they I mean, I don't know if they like being outside, but sometimes they're like, oh, like this sunset's pretty dope. Or they like being next to the fire and like they learn how to cook their own food and yeah. So
I think you're right though. Like if there's proper screening, and that can eliminate a lot of risk.
yeah.
Like you don't want to have like a high risk, like sociopathic kid out there with
Yeah.
knives and cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and especially like there's a lot of kids who come in with suicidal behaviors, but I came across two that I was like, this person should not be here. Like they're actively harming themselves, like actively trying to kill themselves. This is a no-go. They need to go somewhere with people who can treat them 24/7, not just when the therapist comes in. You know, like I mean, the therapists are there. I mean, they have 2 sessions a week with 2 different therapists, but like, I mean, at night, it's like no one's there except for the staff and the kids. So it's like you just never know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
scary.
Yeah. But I'm curious what like I mean, I'm sure they've made changes based on their program evaluations, like how therapy is conducted there and what kind of changes are made to best suit their needs.
Yeah, I should hope so.
Mhm.
Cool. Well, we've been talking about 45 minutes. think that's enough time.
I think so.
If there's anything else we need to talk about.
So I think going through the steps, that was like what she asked for.
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of interesting, like what we're talking about isn't necessarily what we're doing in an assignment. Well, I mean, kind of, but I feel like if you actually worked somewhere and were conducting it, it would look a lot different and it would take a really long amount of time compared to we were just like
Yeah.
looking at an outside scope of what programs look like. And I mean, from an outsider's perspective, we can talk about their strengths and weaknesses, but we don't have the actual semantics of what the clients are saying.
Yeah, it's true. Take a lot of work. That's why I'll
Who
probably
knows?
never do it in my career.
Yeah, hire an outside
Exactly.
resource or something.
You get a consultant to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what they're for.
exactly. Yep. Anyways. Well, good talk.
It was nice to meet you guys. Thanks for letting me join. It
Yeah.
was actually helpful to kind of process it. So
Yeah.
So the next one is due on November 2nd.
What day is that? It's a Wednesday.
Yeah. Do you want to just set up a day and time to meet now?
So winter, my evenings are pretty full towards the end of the weeks just because of class and stuff. So I'm normally free at least one day on the weekend and then Monday, Tuesday. So, but then like my Wednesdays through Fridays are crazy chaotic. What days like
Tuesdays are usually pretty open for me, and then weekends. So I can't do Mondays. Working all day Mondays, they're packed.
that's totally fine.
But yeah, Tuesdays anytime after like 12:30 Pacific Standard Time is good for me.
Yeah. I can at least do one day on the weekend. It just depends because I work sometimes I'm scheduled Saturday or Sunday. So Angie, when are your preferred times?
oh, whatever works. I mean, because fortunately I can go to class. So whatever works for you, if I can join in, I'd love to. And
Oh, you go to class?
yeah, I go to the class.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that you're missing a lot. Oh wait, this is recorded. Yes, you're missing a lot of really good stuff. Oh.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel really lost and I'm like, I wonder if I should be going to class, but I can't because it's literally during another time of my other class. And I'm like, well, that's not
Yeah.
helpful. So
Yeah, and it's right during my working hours, so I can't, unfortunately.
She does like she just goes through the PowerPoints and stuff. So like if you read the PowerPoints, you know, what you're just missing is like breakout rooms and class discussions, questions and answers. I mean, sometimes it's helpful, but
well, I kind of wish that, I mean, well, I think she's recorded some of the things, but I kind of wish there was like a sheet with like, what's the question? How was it answered? Because I feel like that I always have questions and I'm like, I wonder if it was addressed during class.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's usually, yeah, I don't know that anything's very specific as far as like, am I on the right track or, that, but sometimes that can be helpful. Yeah. If somebody else is struggling in the same area.
Yeah. at least the syllabus is pretty straightforward. So that's kind of what I've been using. I use the syllabus in this class more than I ever have in any other class. So
If you ever have any questions, since I do go to class, feel free to email me.
oh, that's awesome.
That would be good. Good to know.
Yeah.
I've been emailing the teacher with a lot of my questions.
Same.
I know she's busy, so I feel bad bothering her.
I know. I also have a lot of questions sometimes, but like I looked at the next discussion, I was like, I don't even know what this says. I don't really know what we're supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the experimental design and the
Yeah, it says
yeah.
like it says to read like 3 different, I don't know.
That's what I thought we were gonna talk about today, so I was all like, I hope they know what what that means. 'Cause I'm like, we haven't talked about it in class. But yeah, I guess reading.
So there's like 3 different prompts, but I was like, I don't know what experimental design is, but I'm sure we'll cover it next week. A group already did it, so good for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Mhm.
Well, since it's due on the 2nd, I mean, I could meet on Tuesday the 1st. Did that work?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Will give us enough time. All right, what time?
I'm free all day Tuesdays, so whenever.
About like 1 o'clock
Sure.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, that sounds good.
What about you?
Andrew,
Angie?
Andrew,
Are
what
you-
time zone are you in?
I'm been on Pacific. Are you on Mountain? Or are
Yeah,
you
I
on-
am.
Oh, okay.
All right, so 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Perfect.
All right, I will at some point make a little meeting and send it out to you ladies.
And then I think
I'll be at work at that time, but that's just
Oh, I can meet at a different time. After like 12:30, I'm free the whole day on Tuesdays.
it's much more important for you guys since I can't go to class, so whatever works best for you guys. I just I was like, oh, I'll be there. I can. So I did.
yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. I didn't realize that you were going to class also.
Yeah.
Overachiever. I
Yeah.
like it.
Right now. I'm just confused, so I'm trying to get all the
I'm also in the confusion boat, so
Same. Same here.
any help that's possible. I think
Yeah.
we're gonna utilize this group later on to like bounce ideas off of. Keep saying that, so it's not gonna matter who's in class and who's not. We're gonna have to meet. So
what
Oh.
did the professor say?
like later on, we're gonna have to like meet as a group, not for discussions, but for like I don't know, talking about what we're researching, I guess, or like
Oh.
our research questions and stuff.
Oh.
So it's gonna be a component at some point. So
Oh, I
Yeah.
wasn't aware of that.
yeah,
Same.
that's what she
Good
said.
to
Because
know.
everyone's like, why do we have to meet with a group? Why do we have a group? Everybody was very confused. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
what she says. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
When that
So
day
I
comes,
figured
we'll
meet with them.
scramble and get a Zoom session
Yeah.
together.
Even though we're already halfway through the term.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, I guess I will upload this and post it on Sakai sometime today.
Do you want to cite the book also, Jessica?
Oh yeah, it's a good idea.
You can copy and paste it from my last post on the discussion board. I'm pretty sure the bulk of Clyde's the references in there, citation.
All right, no problem.
Thank
Make a
you.
note. Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, I guess we'll see each other again on November 1st.
Sounds good.
Thank you
All
guys.
right.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.